Our world is in big trouble. Divides are growing deeper, inequalities are growing wider, and challenges are spreading farther. But as we come together in a world teeming with turmoil, an image of promise and hope comes to my mind. This ship is the brave commander. It sailed the Black Sea with UN flag flying high and proud. On one hand, what you see is a vessel like any other plying the seas. But look closer. At its essence, this ship is a symbol of what we can accomplish when we act together. The climate crisis is coming on top of other heavy weather. A once-in-a-generation global cost of living crisis is unfolding, turbocharged by the war in Ukraine. Some 94 countries, home to 1.6 billion people, many in Africa, face a perfect storm. Economic and social fallout from the pandemic, soaring food and energy prices, crushing debt burdens, spiraling inflation, and the lack of access to finance. Progress on these issues and more is being held hostage by geopolitical tensions. Our world is in peril and paralyzed. Geopolitical divides are undermining the work of the Security Council, undermining international law, undermining trust and people's faith in democratic institutions, undermining all forms of international cooperation. We cannot go on like this. We have a duty to act, and yet we are gridlocked in colossal global dysfunction. The international community is not ready or willing to tackle the big, dramatic challenges of our age. This crisis threatens the very future of humanity and the fate of our planet. The divergence between developed and developing countries, between North and South, between the privileged and the rest, is becoming more dangerous by the day. It is at the root of geopolitical tensions and lack of trust that poison every area of global cooperation, from vaccines to sanctions to trade. But by acting as one, we can nurture fragile shoots of hope.
You need help with anything, brother?
Nope,
okay.
Not yet.
All right, shalom to the hopeful elect, Barakateh Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yabashai, Call Haloya, La Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yabashai, all praises, infinite honor and glory be to our power, Yahweh Ba'ashim Yabashai, double honor to the elder apostles of Great Millstone, peace, love, blessings, and salutations to the hopeful elect, Habayath, Madawadah, the house of David, the brothers laboring day in and day out, giving all diligence to make their calling of election sure, and to the Akim Wakwath, which are the brothers and sisters that also listen and believe on the glorious gospel of Hamashiach Yahushua that's being preached worldwide. And to you I say shalom. So shalom to the hopeful elect. As always, Tam Yah. We're going to jump right into it and get into the rest of this lesson, which here on the screen, as you can see, this article and the speech that you heard at the last General Assembly, the UN General Assembly, is actually what the premise of the lesson is going to be about, which is the tensions that are rising worldwide and World War III being almost here. So we are on the brink of World War III, which our salvation, the scriptures tell us that our salvation is nearer than when we believed. So our salvation is very near unto the believers in Yahweh Shem Yahweh. So we are in the very last of the last days. So each and every day that we are here, we're closer to the kingdom of Yahshua Allah being established here on the earth and the coming of Yahweh Shai, our Lord and Savior. So this article is from theguardian.com, and it states, Putin announces a partial mobilization and threatens nuclear retaliation and escalation of the Ukraine war. So Vladimir Putin, which is the president of Russia, just announced that he's going to go further. He's going to escalate the war further, and go even into more areas of Ukraine and pretty much completely destabilize Ukraine from being a nation anymore. Roughly paraphrasing, when you get into what's going on, the tactics that's being used. So he's pretty much dug in and, in the spirit of completely destroying Ukraine, right? Now it goes on to say Russian president threatens the West, which is America and Europe, with nuclear retaliation, saying we will use all the means at our disposal. So nuclear retaliation is being spoken of more and more in the news by Putin and different world leaders, China as well, India, North Korea. So this is the drumbeat of war that's in the earth. Now, it continues on to say Vladimir Putin has announced a partial mobilization in Russia and a significant escalation that places the country's people and economy on wartime footing. So they're already preparing, and taking on a wartime mindset before the conflict comes. So the people of Russia, the Russian government, are already in the spirit of war, because that's the spirit that's in the earth, as it says in Ecclesiastes, the 3rd chapter. There's a time for all things under the heavens, and we are in a time of war. World War III. Now we are actually in the spiritual war as well, unto the believers, starting with the head of the house of Israel, the men of the Lord is out, on the four corners of the earth, the pillars that's in the spiritual 3rd temple, the house of Yahweh Yahushai, the Israel of God, the believers. But also physical war, World War III, is being promised for the last days. So we are in war. We're in a time of war. Now it goes on to say, the president also threatened nuclear retaliation, saying that Russia had lots of weapons to reply to what he called Western threats on Russian territory, and added that he was not bluffing. So now we see he's doubling down. These world leaders are doubling down. These alliances that are being made is showing forth that we're at the point, or at the brink of no return. Because when those missiles are shot off, when you read in Joel, the 2nd chapter, as an example, there's nothing that's going to be able to stop that. So when you hear these heightened tensions and you hear the rhetoric and what's coming from it, we clearly see that the time of peace and safety, is upon us as well. And we know sudden destruction draweth nigh after we hear the peace and safety. It says in a highly anticipated televised address, Putin said that Russia's first mobilization since the Second World War was a direct response to dangers posed by the West, which wants to destroy our country, and claimed the West had tried to turn Ukraine's people into cannon fodder. Military service will apply only to citizens who are currently in the reserve, especially those who have served in the armed forces, have certain military professions and relevant experience, he said. Shortly after Putin's announcement, the country's defense ministry, Sergei Shoigu, said 300,000 Russians will be called up as part of the mobilization that will apply to those with previous military experience. These are not people who've never seen or heard anything about the army, he said, adding that students can keep going to class. According to this decree signed by Putin on Wednesday, the contracts of soldiers fighting in Ukraine will also be extended until the end of the partial mobilization period. The Russian leader's televised address to the nation comes a day after Russian-controlled regions in eastern and southern Ukraine announced plans to hold referendums this weekend on becoming part of Russia. The Kremlin's plan to annex 4 regions, it says, are likely to further escalate the war following Ukraine's recent success on the battlefield. So we are in a world that's in peril. We are in a world that is teetering on the brink of nuclear, destruction, which is all biblical prophecy. And there's the reason why all these things are going on really is all these things are being done on behalf of the children of Israel. And let's show that with a few quick precepts before we close it out. All these things that are being done is being done on purpose as recompense to the nations for, first and foremost, taking the land of Israel that was given by the Most High to his people, to the 12 tribes of Israel, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. And then for selling and scattering the children of Israel unto all the nations and destroying us as a people. allowing for our identity to be hid in the earth, for a great, number of years, for centuries and centuries. So let's show that. This is the book of Second Esdras. It's the book of Second Esdras. I'll start in the 15th chapter, Second Esdras 15, and I'll go right to the point. Second Esdras 15 and verse 20. And it reads, Behold, saith the Most High, I will call together all the kings of the earth to reverence me. And all these kings of the earth, or all the nations, that's coming back and doing what? Doing the will of Yahweh Shem Yahushai to bring forth prophecy. Right? The scriptures tell you the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. He turneth it whithersoever he will. So all the nations are being gathered together for the battle of Armageddon in the valley of Yahweh Shaphat, to reverence Yahweh Wa Yahweh Shai, which are from the rising of the sun, from the south, from the east, and Libanus, to turn themselves one against another and repay the things that they have done to them. And who's the them? Speaking of the elect. Let's prove that. Verse 21, like as they do yet this day unto my chosen, speaking of the elect of the nation of Israel, so will I do also in recompense in their bosom. Thus saith Ha-Adawan Yahweh. So thus saith the Ha-Adawan, the power. That this is recompense coming to the nations and what they did to them. Once again, all this global tension is because of recompense purposes. Recompense is coming to the nations. So let's further show that. Now in this chapter, the title here in the blue letter in Joel 3 and 1 is the nations will be judged. I'm going to read the first two verses. The nations will be judged. So the Most High is calling all the nations together, as it also says, and I'll just quote it in the 3rd chapter of the book of Zephaniah. The Most High, is calling all the kings of the earth, and his determination is to gather the nations. So the nations will be judged. Joel 3 and 1, for behold, in those days, and we are in those days, and in that time, which are the last days, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah, Yahweh, and Jerusalem. So Yahweh, the northern and the southern kingdom, start with Judah, Benjamin, Levi, on down to the rest of the tribes. All the 12 tribes are about to be freed from captivity underneath Esau, Edom. As it says in Jeremiah the 30th, Jeremiah the 50th chapter, it tells you that. It tells you that in Jeremiah 50 that all the tribes, went into slavery, into captivity together. Continuing on, Joel 3 and 2, and I will also gather all nations, which is what we're seeing going on, and will bring them down into the valley of Yahweh Shaphat, which is Jehoshaphat in the English, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage, Israel, Yasha'Allah. So all this is going on for the Lord's heritage, for his people, starting with the elect, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. And so the children of Israel were scattered amongst the nations, and the land, was divided by the heathen. So now, let's show another precept real quick. Exodus 21 and 16 concerning Israel being scattered and sold and being put into captivity. Exodus 21 and 16, and it reads, and he that stealeth a man and selleth him, or if he be found in his hand, he shall surely be put to death. So we are still found in the hand of our oppressors. Esau, Edom, the chief of all of the enemies, of the children of Israel and the Most High Yahweh Shem Yahushai. So we're still found in the hand of our enemies, and we've been stolen, and sold amongst all the nations. So those that do so will surely be put to death, as it says also in Jeremiah the 30th chapter, the 16th verse tells us all of our adversaries, every one of them will go into captivity. So captivity awaits these heathen, but first and foremost, the children of Edom, who was listed first in Psalm the 83rd chapter. He's the main culprit, right? The children of the wicked. Let's continue on and show that. Numbers 35 and 33, and it reads, so ye shall not pollute the land wherein ye are, for blood it defileth the land. And the blood is what? The killing, mercilessly killing and massacring the children of Israel, trying to near genocide the natives, of North, South, and Central America, and bringing Judah, Benjamin, Levi here and doing the same. For blood it defileth the land, and the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him that shed it. So those that shed the blood of the innocent, the righteous, the just, the children of Israel, their blood has to be shed, meaning they have to be recompensed. Verse 34, defile not therefore the land which ye shall inhabit. It says, wherein I dwell, for I, Yahweh, dwell among the children of Israel. And it tells you in Joel, the 2nd chapter, the Most High is in the midst of Israel, the inward parts, right? Which today the elect are representatives of the Israel of God, the people of the Most High. This is the book of Jeremiah 50 and verse 22. So all this is the recompense for what was done. So what we're seeing going on with the nations coming together and the drumbeat of war growing greater and greater in the earth is all recompense from the Most High to all the heathen. Jeremiah 50 and 22, it says, a sound of battle is in the land and of great destruction. So a sound of battle is in the land, and great destruction is what's to come from that sound of battle. So what we're hearing, all the tensions, is showing forth that great destruction is coming from all the heightened tensions. Now let's show that further. Isaiah 13 in verse 3, going right to the point, and it reads, I have commanded my sanctified ones, and the sanctified ones is speaking about the elect, the believers, the Bacarium that's awakening each and every day. You brothers and sisters that believe and have repented and continue in the ways of truth and righteousness. I have commanded my sanctified ones. I have also called my mighty ones, and those are the angels, for mine anger, even them that rejoice in my highness. Verse 4, the noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people, a tumultuous noise, and that's the sound of battle in the land, is a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together. It says Yahweh of hosts mustereth the hosts of the battle. So the Most High is the one that's bringing these nations together, right? To reverence him, as we read in the first precept, and to come together to do his will, which is for the battle of Armageddon and World War III to come to pass. Isaiah 13 and 5, they come from a far country, speaking of the missiles, from the end of heaven, even Yahweh and the weapons of his indignation, because these are the Lord's weapons, right? He allowed for the German scientists to get the knowledge of being able to split the atom and create atomic and nuclear energy, right? And great destruction. And the weapons of his indignation, this is the weapons of Yahweh's indignation, to destroy the whole land, to destroy all of Babylon and various parts of the earth. Verse 6, how ye, for the day of Yahweh is at hand, it shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. So this is coming from Yahweh, directly from the Most High Yahweh, by Yahweh Shah. This is a destruction coming from the Almighty. So now, once again, why is this destruction coming upon all the earth? Now let's get this precept, because what was done to the children of Israel. This is the book of Daniel 9 and verse 12, and it reads, it says, and he hath confirmed his word. So with all these things coming to pass, this is the confirmation that the children of Israel would go into captivity at the hand of Esau in the last days, and that Esau would be the end of the world, and Jacob, Yahweh, the believers, the elect of the nation of Israel, will be him that followeth. The rule that followeth underneath Yahweh Shai will be the rule of Jacob, Yahweh. Daniel 9 and 12 again, and he hath confirmed his words which he spake against us, and those were the curses, right, which is all prophecy, and against our judges, those were our leaders, that judged us by bringing upon us a great evil, which was slavery and captivity of the nations, enslaving the children of Israel. For under the whole heaven have not been done as have been done upon Jerusalem, Yerushalayim in the Hebrew. So what was done to the children of Israel, there's no comparison. So there's nothing that these nations can say when they go into captivity, or upon seeing the world falling deeper into greater and greater turmoil. There's nothing that can be said to stave off what the Most High Yahweh Shai is bringing. So now let's go back once again to the sound of battle and the curses and what's coming. Because we read about the missiles. They come from a far country to destroy the whole land, right? And that this is being recompensed, all the bloodshed, all the wickedness that was done. There's never been repaid to this point. It's being repaid now in these last days. 2nd Ezra, the 2nd chapter, or 2nd Ezra, the 16th chapter, I'll start at verse 1. It says, woe be unto thee, Babylon, and speaking of America, and Asia, woe be unto thee, Egypt and Syria, gird up yourselves with cloths of sack and hair. So all the nations really, are supposed to be in a state of mourning and lamenting upon knowing these things that's coming upon the earth, the great evils, which is going to be World War III, a time that's never been on the earth. Gird up yourselves with cloths of sack and hair. Bewail your children and be sorry, for your destruction is at hand. The rulership of Esau, Edom, and the other nations that are following him and that are subjected to him, and their rulership is coming to an end. Right? Verse 3. It says, a sword is set among you, and who may turn it back? A sword is symbolic of death and destruction and killing. A fire is set among you, and who may quench it? And these tensions, and ultimately, World War III is going to be that ultimate fire. Verse 5, plagues are sent unto you, and what is he that may drive them away? So who's going to be able to actually turn away what Yahweh Shai is bringing? Who can actually offset prophecy, which is impossible. No man can offset prophecy. Verse 6, may any man drive away an hungry lion in the woods, or may anyone quench the fire in the stubble when it have begun to burn? May one turn again the arrow that is shot of a strong archer, and that's going to be those missiles that's going to come out the silos. Can anyone stop those missiles when they've been shot? It tells you once again in Joel, quoted again, that those arrows that are shot are sharp and they're not going to miss, right? And it says the same thing here. We'll read down to it here in a second. That those arrows are not going to hit one another. They're not going to offset each other. There won't be no defense system that can knock the missiles out of the air, the ICBMs, the intercontinental ballistic missiles. Verse 9, a fire shall go forth from his wrath, and who is he that may quench it? He shall cast lightnings, that's the missiles. That's also the concentrated fire coming out of the chariots. And who shall not fear? He shall thunder, and that's what it's going to sound like on the earth. Great thunder, which is going to be those missiles hitting, and all turmoil and hell on the earth. And who shall not be afraid? Hadawan shall threaten, and who shall not be utterly beaten to powder at his presence? That's the coming of Yahweh Shai. People are going to be getting zapped and turned into dust. Verse 12, the earth quaketh, and the foundations thereof. The sea ariseth up with the waves from the deep, and the waves of it are troubled, and the fishes thereof also before Hadawan, and before the glory of his power. Verse 13, for strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow. His arrows that he shooteth are sharp, and shall not miss, speaking of the missiles, when they began to be shot into the ends of the world. Showing you, it's talking about the nuclear missiles. Those nuclear missiles are going to be shot into the ends of the world. So with that, I hope that was edifying to the hopeful elect. Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, call hello Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai. All praises, infinite honor and glory be to the power of heaven and earth, Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, the God of the Israelites. Double honor to the elder apostles of Great Millstone. Peace, love, blessings, and salutations to the hopeful elect. Habayath, Madawadah, the house of David, the brothers laboring day in and day out, giving all diligence to make the calling of election sure, helping seal the elect of the nation of Israel for the return of our Lord. Hamashiach Yahweh Shai is at hand, and to the Akim, Wagwath, the brothers and sisters that also listen and believe on the glorious gospel of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai that's being preached worldwide unto you. I say shalom. So shalom to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel. And Abba Babal will call Adawamim.